Page 129, In the Shade of the Old Apple Tree. On page 128, they're introducing another type of chord, another flavor. So far, we've had major, minor, and augmented. Well, this is diminished. Augmented, when you went up, and diminished, we're going down. It's like, but what's going down? Well, remember with an augmented, it's simply two major thirds. So here, with a diminished, it's two minor thirds. So let's go to A minor out here. So I have minor third and a major third. If I take that and turn it into a minor third, I get a diminished chord, a diminished triad. So the augmented is major, major. The diminished is minor, minor. Simple as that. About all there is to it for diminished. Let's not get too involved here. Just keep in mind that's what it is. It just adds more color to the harmony. And of course, we get it in this piece. So let's talk about this tree and what's going on here. This is a nice arrangement of this. If you want to sing, go ahead. I don't sing in it, but you're welcome to, or somebody could, I guess. I'll talk about that more a little later, I guess. Look it over. It's one page long. It's got repeat signs. We'll deal with that later. Treble and bass clef, one flat in the key signature. We're either in the key of F major or D minor. Those are the keys with one flat in the key signature. If I look at the end, last couple measure, that's an F major chord. I'm guessing we're in the key of F major. However, when you go in to do the scales, you do both F major and D minor, and probably should be doing them 2 octaves by now if you haven't been. I'm assuming you know the scales. You can do the scales at least by now. So do them 2 octaves. If you don't know the scale at all, then 1 octave. Just learn it first. Make sure you're doing the trill exercise and the accent and working the wrist like I do. That's where going to do you the most good in developing the control over your fingers to play like you'd like to. So it's not just a matter of remembering which notes are in the scale. I teach some technique in those videos, and it's important that you cover that also. Anyway, back to this 3/4 time with a pickup beat. So the melody, it looks like it's going back and forth between the hands. So we'll deal with that a little later. Right hand first. When it comes in, you're starting out with that diminished chord because that regular, that's a D minor chord. Because I got a major third, or a minor third and a major third. If I turn it to a minor third here, that's a diminished chord already. And then the next measure, it's an A natural. Because the flat's only good for that one measure. And then the next measure, hold the A down when you play that. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, and then lift up. Fingering wise is kind of a personal thing. A lot of these books, including this one, they seem to shy away from using the awkward fingers. They want you to use fingers 1, 2, and 3 all the time. I would prefer use the awkward fingers. Don't shy away from them. And this fingering they're giving for measure 4 and 5, you get to use the strong finger. You're using these. You don't have to do that. On measure 4, I can just stay there. Use 3, 4, 5. And then scratch up and use 3. See, now I'm using the awkward fingers. And I think that's a better fingering because it's exercising these awkward fingers, and you need to do that. So at that measure 4, I'm staying right there and use 3, 4. And then for measure 5, scratch up and use 3 on the G sharp because we have a B flat coming. Here, 5 then for the dotted half note in measure 7. Because I want to use it while I'm holding that down, it's tight. I'm going to do a 3. I'm going to connect them. And then measure 9, we're down here with a diminished chord because you take an A minor chord and you just make it another diminished. And then you have fingering is up to you, just finger it. And then going on, you have this. What's another diminished chord? You think, really? I don't see, I mean, it's a B natural. How can, well, this is a minor third and that's a minor third. It's a diminished chord. And then here. And then lift up. No, come on. I would suggest for measure 12, rather than 1/4, use a 1/2. This prepares you for what's coming, because I want to use a 3 on the 8th note, 3, 4. So, and the 5. And then then for measure 13, I scratch up just 3. That way I can reach that. If I do this, it's harder to reach that. So I would scrunch up in measure 13, 3, 2, 1, 5, 3, 2, here. And then hold the C down, it's tied, I go. And you can do a 1, 2, 1 if you want, or a 1, 2, 3. Either one, pick one, that's okay. On the last line, again, you're here for measure 17, and then and then what, thumb again. You can lift up and move if you want, but I would just as soon stay here, and I'm going to do I'm just kind of in this position. I'm doing the whole thing in one position. I can finish the piece out more or less in this position. So on measure 18, I'm here, and then I'm 2, 3, 4. No. And that's tied to the end. The left hand gets that last note. Doesn't have to. I'll come back to that. Left hand at the beginning, we're starting here. 3 and 1. 3 and... We just crossed over for one note. See, the idea is we need to cover 6 notes and 5 fingers, and one of the ways we do it is we just cross over for one note. That's fine. There's other fingerings we could use, but this is good. This is... Then measure 5. Again, we just crossed. If you don't want to cross over, you can reach up and use 3rd finger on the B natural. Whichever, pick one. And then going on is hold the F down in measure 7. And they've got 1, 2, 1. That's okay if you want. I prefer 1, 2, 3. If your hand's big enough, because I need thumb for the 8th notes, and this way the thumb is available. Here, measure 9 is a... That's okay. And then measure 13, excuse me, you just got this. And then 7, hold C down. I like that fingering because I can connect them all while holding the C down. Yeah. Now the last line, you're here. Rest, come down. Don't forget the B flat, it's in the key signature. And then broke chord. And then here. And if you can, this is what, measure 20 on the chords. You can do a 4 on the C here. Save the little finger. It's coming up here. You can use the little finger. There's nothing wrong with it. I just find it easier in many cases to save that little finger for later. And then here, if this is a stretch, you can use 3rd finger if you can reach it. You don't have to cover them all at one time. You can move the hand up as you do it. You move the hand up. And then the last note gets the F. Maybe. I'll talk about that later. Put the hands together. And it's here. Right there. So we're playing on beat 2 in the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Here, got all those notes down, and then lift them up. The 8th notes are by themselves. All right, measure 6. We run across this problem sometimes. We have to deal with it. How do we deal with it? What's the problem? The problem is beats 2 and 3. The C is used on both beats. Both hands need it. So, the melody rules, remember the melody is important. Save the melody. We want to connect the melody. We want to connect that. So, the left hand just has to get off a little early. So it's just get off a little early. Here, and then go on. Remember, in measures 13 and 14 and so forth, you get a rest and left to make sure you're doing it. Rest. last line, you're here. It's all down together, and the fermata, just hang on to that for a bit. And then you go on. There. The last three measures. You have a half note in the right hand. The left hand has a quarter note rest. Rest, and then here. Now they're using pedal in the last two measures so you can continue to hear all those notes here. So you can hear them all. But I didn't use pedal anywhere else. I'd really rather not use pedal here either. Therefore, I need to be able to cover all these notes in the hands. So what I'm going to do is, on the right hand, the next to the last measure, I play with third finger. I'm immediately going to substitute the thumb. I'm going to put thumb on it. Right after I play it, I'm going to put the thumb on it while holding it down. This frees up my little finger for the last measure. I'm just adding it to it. So I have both of these notes down at the end. That way the left hand doesn't have to cover it. And if you can cover all of these notes at one time, then you can get all these notes without the pedal. Here. Now, if your hands are too small and you can't do that, you may need the pedal to help you out. So it's just different ways of doing it. It depends. You can use pedal if you'd like. I would prefer not to. If you do use the pedal, you put the pedal down right after you play the notes. And you lift the pedal with the hands. Everything comes up together. All right. I'm not going to show it if that's all they're going to do. I'm too lazy to show it. Now, once you have the notes and the rhythm sort of figured out, well, think about the articulation. And this is connected. The melody. You have to lift up for the rest. It's the new phrase. The melody on measure 4 is in the right hand with the 8th notes. So measure 5 is the right hand gets it. And then the left hand gets it. Lift up. And then the right hand gets up. Lift up. See, just connect the melody and lift up for the phrasing. Yeah, that's fine. You do get a few staccatos in the chords here. Short. Hands at the wrist, short. You get the idea. So you get the staccatos, you can do that. The fermata on measure 18. You just hold that out a while until you're tired of hearing it. If I do it with a metronome, I'm going to hold that quarter note in the left hand, 2 counts instead of 1, and then just go on, because I've got to stay with the metronome. Then once you have an idea of the phrasing and the staccatos, then we add the dynamics. It applies to the melody, and the melody's going back and forth. MF at the beginning, mezzo forte, whatever you think sort of loud is. This other, gotta be soft. On measure 3, while I'm doing this, I want to hear that. That's the melody, don't drown it out. And then the right hand gets it. And the left hand's soft. Melody in left hand. Right hand. We want to hear the melody, don't drown it out. So add in the dynamics. They don't give you a lot of dynamics at MF. You can get louder and softer once you get to feeling it. If you go ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, like that. If you feel these little swells getting louder, put them in. If you don't feel them, don't put them in. It's expression. It's interpretation. Different people will feel it differently. Speed, it's not fast, just in the middle where I've been going. Wherever in there. If you have a singer, somebody is singing and you're accompanying them, Because a lot of times you'll get this kind of stuff where the music given could be used to accompany a singer, or it could be played as a piano solo. Either one. There's a lot of music like that. If you're playing as a piano solo, you bring out the melody. We want to hear it. If you're accompanying a singer, you let them have the melody and you play everything soft in the background, all the same. You play everything soft and let the singer have the melody. I hear accompanists do this a lot, and it's just, whoa, you want to spank them. They play the accompaniment as though it's a piano solo. If you're accompanying somebody, you stay in the background and let them have the spotlight, them have the stuff. You don't even have to play the melody. You could just play chords. If you can figure out what the chords are, they don't give them in this arrangement. A lot of times they'll give you chords. So a guitar player can play. In that case, you could just improvise something and let the singer have the melody. Now, if your singer isn't much of a singer and they don't really know what they're doing, you may have to help them out by playing the melody along with them so they can hear it. But hopefully the singer knows the piece. They don't need you to play the melody. So you can just hang back, relax, keep it down, keep it soft, and let the singer have the limelight. However, for this lesson, we're going to pretend there's no singer, since I don't sing in these lessons. Good Lord. And so we're going to treat this like a piano solo, and we're going to bring out the melody. Now it has first and second endings at the bottom. So when you get to the repeat sign at the end of the, next to the last line, you go back to the beginning because there's no reverse repeat sign. And you play the first three lines again, and then you go to the second ending and play that and finish it off. There is a repeat sign at the end of the next to the last line that sends you back to the beginning to do that part again. Keep in mind the first ending starts in the middle of measure 10. Right at the last beat, that's the first ending. So in the second time around, when you're coming down, you get to measure 10. The second time, you only do the first two beats of measure 10. And the third beat, you jump down to the bottom. And keep it a steady beat, so get ready. And it's interesting how they do it when you have a pickup beat. You're splitting measures and doing all kinds of stuff. I felt some retardandos in there. If you feel it, stick it in. If you don't feel it, don't stick it in. Different ways of interpreting the piece. Let's play it together slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do any louds and softs. I'm going to play it all about the same. I'll do the staccatos. And I'll do the first and second ending. So I'll give us 2 counts because we come in on beat 3. Ready and go, and... the ending